Turn off your television sets. Turn them off now. Turn them off right now. Turn them off and leave them off. Turn them off right in the middle of the sentence I'm speaking to you now. Turn them off.
We've reached the end of the road. Here we are. Finale. The Last of Us. But before we get into it, Courtney, how's it going?
It's going really well. Don't read tweets.
Like ever, just delete
It's just
your
stressful.
Twitter or your phone into the river, all of that.
Mhm.
I'm gonna jump straight into it. I don't know if it's a hot take or not. I don't think it's a hot take, it's just my opinion. But
It
um
shouldn't be.
yeah, in my opinion, this was the weakest episode of the season.
I agree, and I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's almost, except for the start, play for play, the game. You can't
Mhm.
really do much with the episode, but I think saying it's the weakest is not bad. I think the
Right.
performances were great.
Right.
I think it was well done, but there's just at this point, with everything that led up to here, it's really hard to compete. It's not a bad episode,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
It's not a
it serves its purpose.
Yeah, it's not a bad episode at all, but I'm not gonna lie, when I heard the 43-minute runtime, I was like, that seems kind of short. And
It was
overall,
very short. It felt very
yeah.
rushed a little
Yeah,
bit.
it feels rushed, right? There are certain
In
parts
fact,
where I'm like,
I remember one point
could have
I
went
accidentally hit my remote and
yeah.
I saw like 20 minutes left or something, and I'm like, there's no. Are they gonna end the episode like I thought they would? I just feel like they could have done maybe one more episode.
I think so.
But people would be like, "Ooh, it's filler." But this is why filler is important.
Mhm.
Like, I think they could have done one more traveling episode. I will disagree with the notion that people said there's not enough infected. We got infected every other episode. I'm serious to say,
Well,
people said
I
there's not
know.
enough zombies,
No,
and I
I'm
keep seeing
laughing.
that criticism.
I'm laughing because not to spoil the episode, but you're going to get a lot of infected now.
But it's like
So,
I think it's every other episode we get mostly like there weren't that many infected. Like we had an episode where infected like by the hundreds popped out of the ground.
right.
So I don't know. I think the infected to non-infected ratio is what it needs to be.
Yeah,
Personally.
I was reading an episode of Neil Druckmann and Craig Mason, and they were talking about how the White Walkers were so cool, and they were like, if Game of Thrones would have been made 10 years earlier, it would have been White Walker every single episode. But they're so
Mm-hmm.
cool because like when they
There's
show up, like
mystery.
their presence is felt. So like we don't need the affected every episode, and like
I just
it's
don't. I think because it's an action video game, people expect constant action, but it's not. It's a
Mhm.
drama. Like this
Right,
is a drama.
right.
So I agree with your statement, but I keep seeing people saying there's not enough infected, and I'm just like, so the only reason the game had that much.
It's because you actively have to play it.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah, the
I
game
don't
is
think
meant
there's
to
anything wrong with the
entertain in a different
show.
way. Right.
I don't think there's anything wrong with the show. I think people this goes back to the media literacy, right? So I don't think people understand. And honestly, people always talk about how like video game they don't transition. Like this is why, because people think you should have all the action sequences when it's like to me the viewers get the point.
hmm
To me, the only people saying there's not enough infected are people that played the game. And honestly, I'm wondering too if I didn't play the game. I'm wondering if like this episode would have been more profound, and I'm betting it would have.
See, with that, here's now we can get into the episode because
Mm-hmm.
um I feel like what I could have used more of is it's kind of like putting Ellie in a bubble and having her like sort through her feelings after like the last episode, and more of Joel, because if you don't know what's coming, like I don't think, because it's funny, D just put it in the group, um, that I was team Joel until the end. If you don't know what's coming, you're thinking that, oh, Joel did what's right. But like I would have wanted to see that unfold a bit more, like leading up to his very selfish actions that we're going to talk about. But more about Ellie, because like we only got like that first like minute or so, like where she was like in her own head. And true enough, like we don't want to dwell on it too long, but that's something, I mean, that's something tragic that she has to like live with now. So I want to like
Mm-hmm.
exploration of that more. And also jumping ahead a bit, like they went like kind of like montagey with the Joel saving Ellie thing. That to me, that could have been like a longer sequence.
Yeah, they
Like,
could have drawn that out to me.
yeah, yeah.
And I just had an idea because, like, I love the addition to the episode of Ellie's mother.
Hmm.
I personally think we could have gotten a whole episode of that.
I think so too.
I think that would have been a great filler episode.
Hmm.
And I think that would have made the transition, it would have taken up less time in this episode. And it would have made this transition made more sense. Because now I'm like, I know they briefly said it, but I'm like, but how did she like breastfeed baby Ellie or something? I'm like, it's still not clicking. Like that's something I feel like it does need a little exhibition. I need to see it. I need to see the connection. And obviously there's a deep relationship there. I would have loved to see like maybe a parallel between Riley and Ellie's mom and Marlene in this episode. I would have eaten that shit up personally.
Yeah.
And I think it would have led into a great transition here. You know what I mean? And that would have given more time in this episode. And I think this should have been a 60-minute episode, personally.
Yeah.
Get more time. And then, like I said, it's like a B. I would rate this episode a B, personally. Like, the thing is, but every other episode is A, you know?
Right, right.
So, like, we're talking, like, it's not bad. It's just, if we could.
It's just not as good as the others, yeah.
Yeah, it's just not as good. If we could, it's like one of those things where your professor, like, well, I have to remark on something, you know?
Right.
I enjoyed it. I just do. But again, I wish I could see that through the lens of someone who didn't know what was going to happen. You know what I mean? Because I'm wondering if it'll be like the same thing. I cannot imagine walking away from this not being like Joel did the right thing. The only thing, but I think it goes back to media literacy, or people just comprehensive thinking. People think like there has to be absolute good, absolute evil. Like one's good, one has to be evil. And I've seen someone make a point, and I agree, of the Fireflies didn't ask Ellie her consent either. But here's the thing. Nobody did. Nobody's like, all right, Ellie, what do you want to do? And the thing is, like, if you want to do like the lesser evils, it's the Firefly side, honestly, because it's like it's humanity.
All right, so that actually leads to a question that I want to ask you. So, hypothetically speaking, like I don't even have context for this, but hypothetically speaking, someone comes to you and they say like, "Hey, the world is about to end. If you sacrifice yourself, you could potentially save the rest of the world. Would you do that? Potentially, like you don't know if it'll actually work or not, but potentially save the world. Like, would you take that chance?"
I think it's a lot of thinking. I would have
Right.
again, because I have a science degree. I had to be like, where's the numbers? Where's the research proving this? You can't just say potentially, but theirs made sense. Honestly, and the only reason that she wouldn't be able to make it is because it wraps around the brainstem.
Right.
So
but I asked that
I'm thinking
question.
if they had more doctors, they might be able to do it. But they just had this one old ass doctor. And I'm thinking that it wasn't the only way, but he's probably the only neurologist that was
Hmm.
here before the thing, and he's the only person that's able to do it.
Hmm.
So, because like they're not really having medical school the same way, you
So,
know.
so kind of how you just said, true enough, Ellie would probably have different context. But if it were me and this old doctor in this old decrepit hospital, and we don't know, we don't know like how much he has retained, or if he can actually pull this off, that's a big ask. Like, hey, like we're gonna. I mean, not to I probably wouldn't want to be alive during this time anyway, but that's the story. Big
You know
ask,
what?
but
Because
I will say
my
this: I
my
think,
brain went a really fucked up place. Because
uh,
obviously ethics don't exist anymore. So why can't we just like recreate the circumstances in which Ellie became immune? Now that we know it's how, if they're
I
willing to go
mean,
that far,
is it the craziest thing?
that's what I'm saying. If they're willing to go that far, but here's my point: is that Joel killed the only doctor that can do it. Like that's my thing, right?
Yeah,
Like he could have just like shot him in the leg,
yeah,
but he like, and my thing is like he mercilessly killed a bunch of people.
yeah.
Like it wasn't necessary.
Uh huh.
Like I said,
So
he could have
I
just
have
subdued the guy. What was that scalpel gonna do? He did it because
right,
he was angry, and that's for
right.
me kind of seals the deal, right?
I have a follow up question though, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing devil's advocate here because I want to make a larger point to the Joel supporters by
Mm-hmm.
setting the stage by I guess going through the logic of what Joel. All right, so let's say the Fireflies are able to pull this off. Do you think they actually use this I guess this antidote or this vaccine for good, or do you think they abuse their power and just create like another power structure, like, hey, we have this thing but only certain people can get it, because like it we already know that like they hate Fedra and they hate like anyone Fedra adjacent. So do you think that it like now, because obviously this gives them power, do you think it just creates like another like power structure within this world now that they have like the ability to you know
That's a good question. And even a counterpoint to that, like, what stops Fedra from being like, oh, let's end this quickly? You know what I mean?
right.
And who's to say Fedra doesn't already have a cure that they don't have for their people? Because I don't think this is like a new profound idea. I think it's a
Mhm.
very smart idea, but there's some flaws where it says the cordyceps think that she's already cordyceps. So why does she still get attacked?
Which goes back to the other point
But
is
here's
to
my thing:
me
we
it's
might
not
get that
fully fleshed
answered. We
out.
might get that
Yeah,
answered in season 2.
yeah. To me, like I will say, like and people are obviously grasping for like any sign of hope that they have, but to me it wasn't like a fully fleshed out idea to to um to take that chance. Now, let's go to Ellie's perspective because I think I asked you that question because I think if you were to ask Ellie that question, she says, "No doubt, let's do it." Like she doesn't even think twice about it.
I think Game
Like,
Ellie 100% would without question.
yeah,
Show Ellie, I think maybe, I don't know.
yeah,
Game Ellie, I think would have. Show Ellie, I think it's more unclear, and I like that.
mhm,
But I feel like a part. I mean, she did just have something traumatic. I think part of her figured that would be the case
mhm,
because that's why she was just so. You know what I mean? I think she kind of knew.
mhm, mhm.
Like to me, that is why she was acting like that. Is because she deep down knew.
Yeah, because it was almost like, "Hey, let's get here, let's complete the mission." Like she was like, almost like there was almost a bit of like reluctance, but at the same time, like she knew she had to do it. So I think she knew that, yeah, like this probably was gonna end only one way.
Mhm. So I'm trying to think. Like again, I think if we could have gotten one more episode. Half of the episode is about Ellie's mom, and then we get the bite, and then the other half is flashes forward to her being found by the fireflies and then running testing to find this out. I think that would have given more weight and significance.
Mhm.
Because like there's no like testing. How do they even know if the cordyceps is around her skull? And
Right.
again, my thing is like, if we're going this unethical, so why don't we just have pregnant moms?
I mean,
Because if we're going unethical, we're already on the unethical route, right?
yeah, there are no ethics. Yeah.
Like they take prisoner. So it's just what's the line and
Yeah, because for all like so this is the part that I'm struggling with, and once again, not being a Joe supporter, like there could potentially be something like when within like Ellie's DNA to like kind of halt the process from the cordyceps like turning her. Like it's not like I
mm-hmm.
feel like the basically the messaging that cordyceps think she's one of them. Like I think that's part of it, but there might be something. So they may have gone through all of that to come out with nothing at the end. So that's the tricky part of it all. Like they
So
didn't
this
even
is where
know if,
my sorry, go ahead.
but yeah, they didn't even know if like this could work. That's the tricky part of it all. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And this is where I'm at. And I know this is a world with zombies and such, but they try to go realistic. Again, sometimes my science degree and my research background kind of makes the suspension of disbelief hard. This is a fungus, not a virus, and they're approaching it as if it's a virus.
Right.
Because like this guy's a surgeon. He's not an epidemiologist.
Which
That's
is
why
why I'm
all these
also
ologists and sciences. I would be more on the side that Joel was right if he didn't mercilessly and needlessly kill all these people.
yeah.
And including killing the only guy that could have done this. I think
Right.
and also he's not an old ass dude in the show. He's not.
Mhm.
He looks like he's Joel's age in the show.
Right.
But my point is he probably was like a really young doctor, like in medical school, when all this happened. He's probably on
He was
leave.
like the only resident alive when this
Oh
happened.
no, he was like off that day, right?
Yeah. He was like
But
napping or something. Yeah.
but I think there could have been other ways to do this.
Yeah.
But he just like decimated everybody.
All right, so let's talk about Joel now because we get a very different Joel at the beginning of this episode. He's more
I mean, Pedro Pascal's acting is fantastic.
yeah.
Because just to see that darkness in his eyes, I don't know how actors do that where they can make their eyes go cold. Does
Yeah.
that make sense? Like almost like a sociopath. Like that's I don't know. I would love to have him describe how he's able to kind of just communicate that without emoting.
I'm
I
sure
think
you
that's
would. No, I'm
talent,
joking. No, I'm joking. But no,
experience.
so I wanna say that I think his I guess him trying to like talk up Ellie and trying to like nudge her and see what was wrong, kind of how we said earlier, like the fact that he cares about her more now, and I use care loosely here. The more that he cares, the fact that he cares about her more now, like that kind of like let his guard down and things got dangerous. That's how the Fireflies were
It's
able
like
to
as
like
soon as he let
ambush
his
them.
guard down, it got
Right.
bad.
Because typically that wouldn't happen to Joel. Like he's always scouting out, but they're just casually walking, you know, and he lets her, like run through or whatever. Like so it's already setting the stage that it's funny, like him being cold was the thing that was protecting her, but now that he, cares for her, like he's laying his guard down, and that is gonna put her in danger now.
It's set
So
the stage
yeah, setting the stage.
for future events.
Hmm.
But and that's why like I disagree that the future events are out of character. They're very in character, is all I'm gonna say. But yeah, it's very interesting to see him do this shift and acting like a dad, because you know how dads do when you're upset. They don't
Yeah.
have the propensity to talk about it. They
Yeah.
just try to like make you laugh,
Yeah.
or they're like, "Hey, do you want to go to the store?" Things like that.
Right.
Like it was giving that, which I think was really well done. Um, and just like I think the Fireflies fucked up and letting it be so sudden. And I
Mhm.
wonder if they would have let her make the conscious choice if he wouldn't have gone so violent.
Right. Because yeah, like I guess let's be fair, like all around, like they stripped away her choice as well because they were
Mm-hmm.
so focused on the end goal, which is why I am led to believe that they wouldn't have good intentions once they like if they actually were to pull this off, because the methods in which they went about it, they wouldn't have good intentions
My
with it.
point is,
But
is like, why like Marlene saw how distressed Joel was. If I were in Marlene, I would have just killed Joel right then and there. People
yeah,
got
like
mad at me for saying that. And I'm just like, that would have been the smart decision. As soon as he, like, when she told him that that's what's going to happen and he started showing emotional distress, lights out.
because look, she just told this man like, hey, like all of my men got killed like crossing the country, but you walked across the country with this girl like by yourself. So she knows like he's dangerous. So and I guess it's because she's like she feels like she's in debt to him now, like whatever. But yeah, she should
I think partially she's got some type of moral compass,
yeah,
right? But
yeah,
if it were me, again, lights out.
yeah, you got to.
It's because I know that's not who he used to be, is showing emotion. But as soon as he shows any type of attachment, lights out. Even
Yeah.
temporarily, at least until it's over.
Hmm.
So, and like I said, the thing is like he could have incapacitated people,
Hmm.
right? But now he's made
Right.
it impossible for them to do it again. So that's my
Hmm.
thing, is that like it's not like they can't like try to find somebody else or recreate it. It is now impossible.
Hmm. Hmm. Because yeah, all of the people with the knowledge of this in the first place, they're now dead. Um,
Mm.
so it
He
leads
really
me
should have
to
been cross training people, though.
yeah, like create some redundancy there. But
My
you know,
point is like, why couldn't they like get some hazmat suits, right? Some PPE and practice on infected,
yeah, like you would think like they were like
because they can practice to
cutting open
remove the
infected.
cordyceps from the infected spine.
Yeah, yeah, like I said, real shoddy operation they got there, which is why like
I need to rewatch and really re-listen to the explanation.
I
Because
mean,
why is her cordyceps different?
right.
That's what I'm trying to figure. Because it wasn't the cordyceps bite the second time or the first time when she found out she was immune. It was something from when she was a baby.
Hmm.
And I don't think we go over that well enough. Like I know
Right.
we congratulated them, applauded them for their, not doing exhibition, but this is where I think it could have been better. We needed a little bit of that.
Yeah, that's definitely missing because like yeah, like if you tug at one thread on this, like it kind of like pulls apart. Because yeah, like you said, she was like bitten previously. Like and I'm not saying like the initial time, like in the show, like she was bitten another time, right?
She's been bitten
Yeah.
twice.
Yeah.
And not
So
as a
so
baby,
she
that was
so
as a
so
child, yeah.
she still gets attacked whenever they're
That's my
around.
thing. But I'm hoping maybe in the second season they get into it.
Yeah, they have to because like this show is like too smart for like that glaring of a like logic hole.
Yeah, and I just really wish we would have gotten Ashley Johnson and not in just a cameo way, but
Right.
really explored that. That was a very intriguing concept.
Hmm.
Because I think that, like, my mind was like, oh my God, she's going to be like breastfeeding. And that's going to be how, you know what I mean? In my mind, I'm like, that's going to be how, like, that gets passed on. But it's like so filtered down. To me, that's how it was going to work. But I don't think that's how. I'm going to have to rewatch.
Yeah, because she did. She also said like, "Yeah, I'm not
She had
gonna
already
nurse the
pushed the baby
baby."
out when she
Yeah.
gotten bit. When she had gotten bit.
Mhm. Yeah.
I need to rewatch
Yeah.
because, like I said, there's so much happening so quickly. I'm. I just need to get that explanation again.
Yeah. I think they rushed over that a little bit.
So, but like I said, it's still a B in my mind. You know,
Mhm.
it's good, but if I could give some critique, that's it. But not in the same way everyone else says.
Yeah.
I just don't know
I
how you could think we don't get enough infected. Like, that's pissing me off.
yeah, like there has been enough affected. Like we know like there are
It would take
bloaters in the
away from the
world.
plot.
Right.
We got
Yeah,
plenty.
like
And like the
it's
whole point is that like the people are like the true evil.
yeah, like we have more than enough. Like it would get boring to me if we had more than that.
And then someone had a very unsmart point that's like, well, clearly there's all these places where people are infected aren't. And I'm like, it's in Colorado.
Yeah, like the worst places to live
And like it's
because
like
they're
it's in the
in
tundra where nobody is. Like that's
yeah, they're
it's
in
like
Salt
turn
Lake
it
City
on,
now.
turn it on. Like
Like
there's
no
not
no
infected.
cordyceps
There's
want to
no
go to Salt Lake City.
people. It's a fungus. And so when you're in a
Yeah.
tundra, and the thing is, here's the thing: when you start moving people in, there's a chance that someone's going to be infected, and boom, whole thing's gone. So I don't know what's not clicking. Some of these shows are too smart for people, and this is not like a super smart show. It's very
No, not
easy to
really.
follow along.
Hmm.
I don't know. Maybe I'm being too mean. I don't know. I'm getting irritated though. Because
Like
like
I
there
said,
are
it's
things
this,
to critique, but
yeah,
that's just silly
yeah. I
to
think the
me.
simplest explanation is like no zombie wants to go to Salt Lake City. That's it. Like
They
we could
can't
just leave it at
survive in
that.
the cold.
No, they just don't want to go. Like there's no
Mm-mm.
caffeine. There's like no yeah. Like a zombie can't even have a latte if it wanted to. Like it doesn't want to go to Salt Lake City. Like no.
Mm-mm. Who wants to go there in a
But
body?
I have one final question to ask you. So we know how the episode ends. Joel turns into Joel Wick. He goes to the hospital. He tells Ellie the story in the car, and then once again, um, Ellie is like, "Do you swear that all of that is true?" Joel looks at her in her face and says, "Yes, I swear." What if he would have said no? Do you think she would have accepted that? Because
No.
I actually think, hmm, because I actually think she would have been pissed. She would have been disappointed. But kind of how we set it up, like in a previous episode, like they kind of have like this like weird bun. I think she would have been like, "That's fucked up," but I understand. I think Joel lying to her is gonna hurt more
Makes it
than
worse. I think she would have
yeah,
been mad at him, but came around.
right.
Because I think who Ellie is, I think part of the problem is that he made a decision on her behalf.
Mhm.
Um, you know what I mean? It's maybe not something that she would have agreed to. I think it's the fact that he took choice away from her. And I think it could have been recoverable, but I think she knows he's lying.
She does.
She knows he's lying and is hoping he's not.
Yeah. I, that's my read on it because like she was skeptical in the first place. So now I think she is gonna like just choose to like believe the lie.
So, and I have a theory. So there's a lot of talk about fate in this show, right? I think Ellie's fate was to die. Because I'm gonna get a little bit of spoilers. In the game, she does not live a good and happy life. In the second game, is all I'm gonna say. She's not the best person, is not a happy person. And the whole, there's a lot of themes of what was and wasn't supposed to happen, buying time when it was fate. I think it was Ellie's fate to die there.
Because if you want
things
to take
just
that
don't
a
go
step
well
further,
from her.
if you want to take that a step further, like we forgot to mention one important point. Like as Joel is walking through like that site that has the medical tents, he was like, "Yeah, I'm actually the guy who shot a miss because I attempted, you know, to take my life." So it's almost like, yeah, like that one little, like, that one little decision now has a ripple effect later on
The
someone
same thing
else's
with
life. So
Sarah
yeah,
dying.
right.
None of this would have happened.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I genuinely believe that her fate was to die there, right? And when you
Hmm.
mess with fate, things don't go well for you. Because if you play the second game, is she better off for it?
She would have been better off in the previous episode when, the guy was like, "Hey, let's just take care of her." No, no, when the guy was like, "Let's just kill her." That's what I mean. Like when he was
Oh,
like,
no,
"Yeah,
no, no.
let's."
I was like, what?
No, no,
I
no, no,
thought when
no. My
David, I
bad.
was like, what?
No, no, I wasn't trying to say the word
Well,
kill
no, yeah, like
like
she would,
explicitly,
but
but yeah.
I think truly her best being better off is in that hospital when she would have been put down peacefully
Hmm.
and potentially for a better cause, right? So I think that was her fate. And her fate got snatched from her.
Yeah.
Because remember, like it keeps getting brought up. Fate.
Hmm. Yeah, and just to make it clear, like we are team non-Joel support for one simple reason, because he says like flat out in this episode, like you've given me something to live for, and he ensured that that thing that he now has to live for continues to live. So we
And the
know
thing is,
that his
it's not
actions
even
were
for the
selfish
benefit of that thing. It's for the benefit of Joel. This was
of
not
his
selfless.
benefit.
This was selfish.
Right, right. So yeah.
Tommy should have taken her.
I mean, yeah, he should have. She'd be kicking it on the come year right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so before we close, I want to say also, because we've been talking about like where to like naturally draw the lines and like the seasons and how the show is gonna go. So Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin said that there are multiple seasons in game two.
At least 2 seasons from the second
At
game.
least two. Yeah, at least two. So just keep that in mind.
I think there's story to be told after the second game.
Think so. Yeah, I think so.
Just
Yeah, I
remember,
don't
when
think
things
we're.
don't go how you want them to, because I know it's gonna be bad because of how the Joel fans are acting now. I don't care if people. Okay, this is a spoiler. Just stop watching, because you already know what happens in the second game. I'm just gonna
I
say
do.
it.
Yeah. So stop watching and stop
So
listening if you don't want to know. Yeah.
yeah, so I don't care if people don't agree with the way he died. In my mind, he has to die. You cannot have the plot of the second game without Joel dying. And in my mind, what story is there to have with Joel still there? Because remember, he's this old ass man. What story is there for Ellie? Right?
Yeah.
You'd have to rewrite everything, and I like the narrative of the revenge is bad, right? I think it's good. And there's got to be consequences for what he just did.
Yeah, you remember what I text you like right after the show ended, right? I was like, so that doctor.
I know people are
Doctor's
like,
related to someone,
that was the
right?
worst decision. That's what I'm saying. Keep the doctor alive.
Yeah.
I'm just sorry. And I think it's a good point to have there's consequences to what he just fucking did. And I think what it's going to do is going to ring home to all those people they just killed throughout the season. Like, those are people.
Yeah.
Like,
So
there
I
were
guess
people that put their hands up and when they're and he still killed them. People surrendering.
Yeah. Yeah, so in that regard, with the exception of David, yeah, these people are just, the heroes of their own story. They're just carrying out their mission. And like you said, they were surrendering. They're like, hey, we're done. We're done here. We
Even
surrender.
Marlene, who was like, I'm going to put the gun down, but I'm going to let you go, but look what you did. Mm-hmm. And she even told him, she's like, there's no point in coming after you because he was the only one that could have done it. He did that because he didn't want someone to tell Ellie the truth. That's why he killed Marlene.
Yep.
He didn't think Marlene was going to come after her. It was so no one would tell her the truth. I genuinely think if Marlene told her about how she became immune and that she was friends with their mother, Ellie would have done it.
Yeah, I think if they would have made that link, yeah.
She would have done it because then in her mind it's a greater purpose. And I personally, in this universe, think that's her greater purpose.
But yeah, I guess to close out, overall, what did you think about the season?
Incredible series. Just super well done television. Great storytelling. Intrigued to see where Neil Druckmann takes this next.
Yeah, so am I. Like, this is the best possible outcome for yeah, this was so hard to do and they made it look easy. So yeah, like I am like delighted by like everything I saw this season.
You know what I think?
What's that?
You know what I think season 2 might end with
the thing, yeah.
I think they're gonna add some filling in because there's a lot of drama that you'll play the second game. There's some drama that happens. I told you there's a lot that happens. So I think this might be 4 seasons. So second game is just, if this is how I would do it, 4 seasons would be perfect, right? Until you do a spin-off show and then they can make their cha-ching money. Second season is on the ranch, whatever. Ends with Joel's death. Third season is Abby's whole arc. And then you grow and get to know all these characters.
That would actually be like
the final ballsy, season is
like
Ellie's revenge arc. So then you're emotionally attached to all these people that Ellie's about to kill.
They should hire you because that.
I'm just saying.
I'm down. I would be down for that.
I would do it. And 4 seasons to me is like perfect amount of time for television.
Right.
And then you can have your little spin-off show. But like that's how I would do it. Because I think they need to. There's drama that happens, and then they need to end it with that. I would, like I said, the third suit, because there's that shock. The third, I would open with Abby. Because I think that's what they did wrong. I think making Ellie do her whole revenge arc, I think they should have just jumped to Abby. And immediately to her perspective. Right? And then you jump to Ellie's perspective, so it doesn't feel so good. That's how I would have done it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down with that.
4 seasons of television is perfect.
Yeah, like that's a sweet spot. Like 5 max, but between 3 and 5, yeah, that's a sweet spot.
Mm-hmm. And then I would be down for like a in the same universe type of show opening up. But The Last of Us to me is Ellie's story. Not Joel
I
and
agree.
Ellie, but Ellie. It's about
I agree.
Ellie.
Mm-hmm.
She's not a good person either. You'll watch me play the game. I don't hate it the same way others do. But to me it makes sense. Like I said, if I would have done it, I think they should change nothing but the narrative structure. So as soon as Joel dies, you don't go back to Ellie. You go straight to Abby before her dad dies. Because that's how the game goes. I'm going to go ahead and tell you because you already know what happens. So you get to see Ellie's whole arc. And then she takes out revenge on all of Abby's friends and Abby. And then all of a sudden, Abby gets kidnapped or whatever. And she can't take, or Abby beats her ass, right? Because she's like way stronger. She's like a military soldier. So then you switch to Abby. So you already had the whole thing of killing all of Abby's friends. So you didn't know them. You didn't feel sorry for them. You kind of feel sorry as you play Abby. You're like, oh, these aren't bad people. I think you should, as soon as like the golf club hits the head, you switch to Abby's perspective like 3 weeks before and go from there. And then from when there's this point where Abby's starting to notice her friends get picked off. And then from where they meet up, you switch up to Ellie's perspective.
Yeah, Martin Scorsese meme, this is cinema.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how I would do it. I think it would be better received. I think it still needs to be shocking, but I think it would make a narrative. It would make a narrative like a moral storytelling and some points. I think
so.
But yeah, that's how I would do it.
But yeah, we'll close out here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Let us know what you think about the show. How did you like it? How did you like the finale? But yeah, until next time.
I don't want to hear you say enough infected. I'm going to bully you.
Otherwise, yes, we will bully you. Like we will break into your house and give you a swirly. Until next time.
Mm-hmm.
Peace.